morning. Buenos dias. I hope you are well, staying positive, and focused on what you can control. Welcome to Cafecito con HACE, to all of you tuning in. This is an awesome opportunity to network, to engage in the chat, drop in where you're tuning in from, and use the comment section to connect with one another. My name is Patricia Mota, and I serve as president and CEO of HACE, the Hispanic Alliance for Career Enhancement, a national organization that's dedicated to positively impact workplaces by cultivating the community of talent, providing insight, access, and support to be successful in their careers. A few key things and updates you may notice, the Juntos, pointed the wrong way, the Juntos We Rise theme for us this year, but specifically for our National Leadership Summit and Awards Dinner that's taking place April 30th and May 1st in Chicago. It is hybrid, and so there's opportunities to engage, network, learn in person in Chicago, and there's opportunities to learn, connect, and engage virtually as well. And so please be sure to join us. The theme is around community, it's connections, it's uplifting, and so we want to make sure that you don't miss out. So check out the HACE website for more information. And we are also accepting applications for our spring programs. And so check out the website for that information. And then there's also a coaching corner, which is an opportunity to connect with the coach, to meet with you individually. And so you'll also find that information on our site. And so want to go ahead and jump in with our special guest here joining us this morning. And the Brooklyn Dicent is a Chief Happiness Officer at the Happiness Consulting Company. Brooklyn, good morning. And I know it's a really early morning for you.
It sure is. Good morning, and thank you for having me. Welcome all to this conversation. It is early and a little bit chilly out here in Seattle.
Yeah, see, so thank you for waking up nice and early to join us. But first thing is first, because this is Cafecito con HACE, so we like to ask our guests, and those of you tuning in as well, please let us know in the chat. How do you like your cafecito, or what's your morning beverage of choice?
Yeah, so good. You know what? I typically love to have mushroom coffee. It's actually not really coffee. I'm not really a coffee drinker. I am naturally caffeinated. So essentially, but I also love to drink this thing called Early Bird. No plug for them, but basically it's more of a natural energizing drink that helps you to wake up in the morning.
Wonderful. So I know we've got some mushroom coffee drinkers here that join us, and varied choices. So those of you joining us, let us know in the chat. I know we got folks from Texas, New Jersey, Florida, some of the HACE Familia, the team members that are here. Continue to engage, and hope you are doing well here and joining us this morning. And so Brooklyn, you also led our multicultural leadership program. And so you're one of our program leads, our coaches that we get to engage with year round. And so thank you for all that you do. And tell us a little bit more about who you are, your cultural and your professional background.
Yeah, well, first of all, that experience itself was absolutely phenomenal. Being able to connect with other leaders in our community from diverse backgrounds, and the joy and the insights that they brought was phenomenal. So my background is I was born and raised till about 7 years old in San Juan, Puerto Rico, la isla de encanto. So I absolutely love it. I came out to the States, as we call it, early in my childhood. And yeah, I love my Latino culture, being Puerto Rican, also being Dominican, and also both my parents just, seeped us in our culture, which is, it literally has paid off dividends over the many years of my career, including being able to hold on to my mother tongue. And it's been extremely helpful.
That's amazing. And I think that's something too that not only through our multicultural leadership program, but all of our programs and events is really embracing cultura, embracing your background, and how that's important in shaping not only your identity, but your own trajectory as it pertains to your professional in trajectory and your success. And so those of you tuning in, let us know. I know we've got some of the coffee statements coming in and locations, so please continue to share. But also feel free to share anything about your background and things that make you who you are. And so, Brooklyn, you have this concept, this method called Be Undeniable.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
is it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, first of all, one of the things that I had to look back in my career when I was thinking about, a book and writing something that actually would help and benefit, our folks and just about anybody who wants to improve their life and career. I had to think about what was it that helped me throughout my career and everything that I've done and all the companies I worked in. What's the sort of the secret sauce? La salsita, right? What was the thing that really helped me to get ahead? And as I studied and researched my own life, if you will, I discovered three things. And essentially, the Be Undeniable method, it has to do with aligning, activating, and accelerating. And aligning is aligning to your values and aligning to what matters to you. And at first, I thought this concept of aligning to your values was a little bit sort of dull and boring, to be honest. And one of the key things I did is I took this assessment through via Strengths, which I just put into you can put in the chat if you like. But essentially, what I discovered was I'm like, what are the things that deep down I care about? What are the things that drive me, that drive my behavior? And really identifying that was really important to identify what my signature values are. So aligning to that and recognizing that anywhere I work, I want to be aligned to those values. And then being able to, once I understand that, is to literally activate positive energy, activate my thoughts, activate my being to live by those values, and then accelerate in action. Oftentimes we have to, take action or do something to be confident. We kind of hold back, particularly in our community, we tend to hold back. I'm like, why? Why am I holding back? What's holding me back? And that search and to answer that question really helped me to tap into what the greatness of our culture, the greatness of who we are, and that is bringing our best values to the table.
That's amazing. And we definitely want to share that tool. You said the VIA strains. I remember seeing that a while ago, and it is a powerful tool. And it's like many awareness tools, right? It's kind of the first step in really helping understand your strengths, your capabilities, and then leveraging that as a tool to move forward as you continue to lead authentically. Brooklyn, another thing that you said, like generally speaking, cultura, right? In terms of there's certain communities that have a tendency to be more on the quieter, not as vocal, maybe the humility, which is a beautiful value, but not as comfortable perhaps like tooting our own horns or advocating for self. And in a time and place that we're in right now, where let's say diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts are in, there's the heightened scrutiny, there's a lot of conversation and pushback that's happening. There's a risk that folks that have a tendency to be quieter are getting quieter, right? And we don't want that to happen, right? So many professionals then are hesitant to bring in their full authentic selves. And so what advice do you have or can you provide with our community that's tuning in, so as they navigate this climate and as they're navigating the workforce?
Yeah, it's a great question. And and one of the things I believe is that regardless of the time that we're living in, the concept or the idea of showing up and being authentic is going to be consistent. So whether it's now and into the future or whenever it is, this concept of how do I show up authentically is going to be a consistent area of focus. And here's what I believe about what it means to be authentic, what it means to be you, and particularly in our culture. Our culture tends to be somewhat insular. So we kind of stay quiet. We don't really want to ruffle feathers, and we kind of want to go with status quo. However, one of the key things that is most important is our voice. And when I say our voice, meaning our values, meaning what do we believe is important to speak on and to engage with and to connect with. And in terms of this topic, what authenticity means to me is showing up with your full intelligence, right? Your sense of self, understanding that when you see things that you can shift or change in your organization or have an opportunity to raise your hand and speak up, that's your opportunity. And so when people say show up authentically, what does that mean? That means basically bring your best professional self to the table. At the end of the day, companies hire us to do a particular job, to get a particular result. That's my opportunity to bring my best self. How can I bring the best results to this organization possible? Despite, and this is going to sound a little bit weird, but despite of my background, who I am, how can I deliver my best self to the organization? One of the things that we bring as a culture is community, and thinking about team and thinking about each other. And I would say is taking small steps within your organization and your team to take care of each other, to say, hey, how can I help my fellow person, versus sort of staying insular and finding community. That's one of the biggest things for us, is finding community. Again, it happens whether it's during this time or any time, that we live in. Who's your community? Raising your hand and helping other people, showing up authentically, meaning how can I help solve this organization's problems with my skill, my talent, my intelligence?
My intelligence. And that's key, right? We all have strengths and things that we bring to the table that offer so much value to the workforce, to your business, to the company, to your organization that you're working with. And it's how do you, sometimes I like to call it that little voice that we have in our head that says, maybe you're not ready enough or you're not prepared. Like, how do we build that inner confidence? And one strategy that I absolutely love is, and that you talked about, Brooklyn, is that community. Like, how do you lean into that community? Say, I ran this by them. We had a great conversation. They told me how much value I bring on this concept. And so when that little voice comes in your head and says, you're not ready to share this yet, you got to say, no, you know what? My community has my back and they told me I'm ready, and I'm going to say it out loud. I'm going to advocate for this new project, for this opportunity. And us is one of those communities. And the Multicultural Leadership Program that you helped us lead last year is definitely one of those opportunities. And those of you tuning in, please continue to share and network, and any thoughts or questions that you have for Brooklyn. Can you share any examples from the experience that you had with the Multicultural Leadership Program on this piece?
Yeah, listen, one of the key things that we talked about is a sense of confidence. And right from the beginning, it was an amazing experience to watch people sort of have some hesitations around speaking up. And, we all have, as humans, concerns about speaking up because we have this thing called impression management. We don't want to be seen a particular way, or we're concerned with how people view us. But I saw people go from uncomfortable, not sure, to at the end of the program, presenting, speaking up, being able to share their intelligence, their insights. That's what's valuable. What insights do you bring to the table that, your culture can obviously help with some of those insights, but also within a company, there's culture, and within, teams, there's culture. So they were able to tap into an unbelievable amount of power, personal power, as well as, transformation, when they realized, wait a minute, I have ideas to share, and then knowing how to position those ideas. And teams from the US and around the world gave people feedback and insight, how they can bring those ideas and their sense of intelligence to the table in a way that people can hear them. Right?
I love that.
How to position your ideas so that people hear you. And this is really significant. And so again, regardless of your background and culture, understand that one of the biggest challenges for people, and I had this myself, which is, hey, how do I bring my voice to the table in a way that is heard? And part of that is me.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying that's the importance of diversity, right? We need those perspectives, those diverse experiences to come to the table to bring innovation. And there's studies and research that constantly show that. And so instead of seeing it as something maybe negative, is how do you lean into whatever that's unique about you, right? To bring to the table. So we have a question for Brooklyn from Jasmine Lopez, and she says, how do you handle leadership that has a different agenda and place barriers? Challenging question.
Yeah, it's a great question. And goes back to my concept of aligning, first of all. Now, this is a situation where oftentimes the challenges, the barriers that you find with, leaders or managers, one of the first things I want to do is to understand their perspective. And oftentimes we will be like, well, how am I going to try to listen to them if they're not listening to me? Is understand their perspective. And I'm going to first assume positive intent. I'm going to first assume positive intent. What I mean by this is that I'm going to try to understand what is happening for the business, what is it they're trying to accomplish, and then align to that in the best way possible, as well as having conversations with a leader or a manager to say, listen, here's what I'm hearing you say, right? Here's what I'm noticing. Help me understand how I can best bring value. Because obviously they're paying your salary to be there. How can I best bring value? And what I do is have conversations with leaders, privately, one-on-one, as best as possible. Most people fear that, thinking what they say is sort of rule of law. But what I'm trying to do is understand. So first, assume positive intent. Then it's okay. Here's what I'm seeing you trying to accomplish in the business. Here's what I'm noticing, and here's how I want to help. Or better yet, help me understand how I can best help you to achieve that goal. And you find what I have found is that in having that conversation, again, it allowed me to speak up in a way that's professional in a professional environment, but also help the leader achieve their objective. That's ultimately what we're there for, right? Is to help them achieve their objective. So aligning to what it is they're trying to achieve, assume positive intent. Now, if you do all that, you go, yeah, I've done all that, and somehow it doesn't still work, there's a matter of choice. I am showing up to this place every single day. It's a matter of choice. Y'all take that however you want, but it's a matter of choice. So I can choose how I show up. I can choose how I think about the situation. And it's all really up to me or up to you. You have the power to decide what's my best option here. Am I aligned? Am I able to align? Is there a barrier to aligning? Okay, so I can make a choice and determine, it could be, I literally can choose, and I don't necessarily have to leave an organization. I can choose to show up differently. And do that for the amount of time that you need to. But ultimately, a leader is trying to achieve an objective. I'm going to assume positive intent and move forward in that direction. Oftentimes what happens for all of us is that we make an interpretation or an assumption about what people are trying to do, and we think it's terrible. But ultimately, I have to recognize that they are in a position of power. They're in a position to run the business, and it's my job to help them achieve their target. So what is it? So assume positive intent.
Excellent advice, Brooklyn, and great question, Jasmine. Thank you for the question. We've got a few minutes, and those are excellent tips for effectively managing up, right, in terms of how you're communicating, how you're showing up. And I love the assume positive intent, especially in a time and place that we're in. It's so easy to jump into, especially when you're having a difficult time, to assume, that there's misconceptions that happen, right? And then that creates certain actions and value judgments that could be harmful if we're not taking a deeper dive and trying to understand, right? So super helpful. Great engagement. Continue to ask any questions or engage in the chat. And I am going to wrap up by asking our Chief Happiness Officer here, is something hopeful, positive, that gives you hope, or how do that makes you happy? Yes. I have to ask the happy question.
Yes. What? How to stay happy in this environment? Here's what I mean. I can talk on this for hours, and here's what I want to offer to everyone listening to this broadcast here in HACE and with your Cafecito. It all starts and ends with you. How you think, and this is the key aspect of all of this, my friends, all of it. It's whatever is happening outside of you. It's happening outside of you. How I interpret that, what I decide to do with that information, how I engage with my community, how I find positive people who are also looking forward, right? Who are saying, okay, this is happening, but what do we have to do to engage in our environment to make sure that we're productive? Here's kind of like, show business. The show has to go on. We have to find, ways to move forward. It starts and ends with how I show up. So what I mean by this is the what I call the happy habits, or getting into the habit of actually bringing in positive information into your life, super important. If you're tapping into all the news and tapping into all the, what you're tapping into is the consciousness that's happening in the current environment. The level of consciousness happening in the current environment may not be that exciting, may not be that positive. It's not helping. So what I got to do is tap into positive news, tap into possibility. Literally, I call it feed your feed. In your Instagram reel, TikTok, whatever you're on, do searches for positive information, motivational information, things that are going to help improve your mindset. because you have to first feed your mind with positivity and things that are going to help you to feel better. Music for me is one of those things where I can shift my energy immediately with music. And as Latinos, we know we just got to put a couple of artists in the playlist. What's in your playlist? So making sure that the information that I'm taking in is balanced with positive information and things that are actually fruitful and helpful. That gives me hope.
I was about to say Nueva York.
Yes, we have it in our head, right? We have that playlist in our head. Bad Bunny. Then, so look how instantly our mood shift and change. Yeah, that's all absolutely. We need to shift that mood so that when I walk outside, my friends, a smile. Man, people need to smile. It's so simple, but if I instigate the smile in other people, trust I get smiles back. Sometimes I don't, but oftentimes I do. And I shift that energy. It's our not only our responsibility, but our power to help shift the energy from unresourceful, people call it negative, I call it unresourceful, to resourceful. And all that is my thought, right? My immediate thought is, how can I help literally drive and improve the energy in this moment? What can I do?
And beautiful. Well said. Well said. We are so thankful to Brooklyn, for joining us today and offering all of these nuggets and ensuring that we continue to be there for one another. This is part of the HACE Comunidad. So Brooklyn, thank you so much. To all of you tuning in, thank you. Stay positive and hasta la próxima. Until next time, everyone. Take care.